Good morning, everybody. It is Friday already. Wow. Friday, July 23rd. I think I have the date right today. I tend to get the dates wrong for some reason in the mornings. I don't know why. Let's take a look at the markets. I didn't, really bummed yesterday. I didn't trade well yesterday, and it should have been a really great day. Um, but I didn't trade it well, and so that ended up costing me. One of the things I talked about in the morning analysis was this value area high from the previous day, which I'm going to remove in a second, but that if we opened up below it, that we should expect a test of these levels down here. And I ended up getting in. My first entry on it was a little bit early, and I ended up getting stopped out. No big deal. It was just a little bit too aggressive. And I took a second entry on it, which was good. And I was I was sitting on some really nice profits when the price came down here. And this is where I should have gotten out, and I'll show you why in a second. I had the point of control from the previous day marked out here, which is what I was expecting to be tested, and that was my target, which it did. My target was 42, and we came down to 30 or 41.50. So my target did get hit later in the day, but only after my stops got taken out above here. So, that was kind of a bummer, and I should have gotten my profits here and just gotten out of the trade. I had great risk reward on that trade, and it was a problem with I didn't carefully enough look at the volume. Let's take a look at what I mean by that. So when I was plotting that trade, it was based on the session volume, and we were looking at the previous days. This is yesterday's session volume. We were looking at Wednesday's session volume. And if you look at this, usually when I'm setting targets, if there's a high volume in front of the point of control, I'll usually set my target off of that. You can see there's this really nice high volume that came in right here. And that would have been, front running that by a tick or two would have been the right place to put the target. Seeing that there, that price is likely to stop there and at least bounce before, even if it's going to retest this. And we can see kind of moving forward through time here, this is where my trade was, and it came down and it went through that by one tick, and I would have gotten my fill, and this would have been about $1,200 profit on there. Instead, I didn't really have a logical place to move my stop, so my stop was up here, and so instead of taking $1,200 profit, I took a $500 loss. So that mistake essentially cost me $1,700, which was I was really kind of bummed with myself about that, but you live and learn. And I just was in a little bit too much of a rush in the morning when I was plotting out my target for that trade. And, it is what it is. So that was a little bit of a bummer. That was my biggest mistake of the day. I mean, the first entry was definitely a little bit aggressive, but no big deal because I knew I had good risk reward. And I knew that if price did ultimately move the way I wanted to, that I would make up for that loss and some. And so that was that. I took some more trades throughout the day. I did get a winner in here. I don't remember exactly what it was. I think it might have been this long. And no, it was a short actually. So I think it was when we were on our way back down, probably right around here. I think it was right off here. I took a short. That worked out really good. There was another good trade that I plotted out in the room, but so this was the short I took off of that volume. Perfect move down. I didn't take the other trade. It was up here. And I didn't take it because I had a meeting. I had a 3 o'clock meeting that was going to run me till about 4:30, and I wanted to be present for my meeting. It was one of my coaching clients, and I didn't want to be distracted, checking on my own trades and stuff. So the trade was based off of this volume down here. I believe I had my entry off this kind of high volume node. So the trade looked something like this. And I was watching it. I actually put the trade on back here. And then as we got closer to 3 o'clock, I decided to just cancel my order. I didn't want to be in that trade. We can see price did come down, entered off that support, and then moved right on up through target. My target on the day, I kept telling the room, was 65. And that's kind of what I said in the morning analysis yesterday, that, we could expect probably a range between this low point of about 42 and the high point of about 65. We didn't quite make it up to 65 in the open session, but we got just below it. We got to 62.75, and then we pushed up there by 4:30. We hit 65, and then the next target that I mentioned was this 77 level, and you can see we pushed up there in the pre-market, and then came down, did a little retest of it, and then on up from there. That level was based on the volume way back here off this high. There was significant volume that came in. So there's this is the 65 one, big volume on that reversal. So kind of knew that was going to get tested at some point. And then this was some significant volume that came in here, right up off this reversal up here. And so we kind of put that there. This one, I kind of figured sort of got tested right here. So this I wasn't too concerned with, because if you look at this whole structure of volume, you can see that it got tested. Right, but this one was untested. So that was our next target. It's not a strong target, so I wouldn't have shorted off of that, but it was definitely a target to, say the price should make its way up there, and sure enough, it did. Then we get a little retest, and off we go again. So as far as today goes, let's take a look. This reversal up here actually had quite a bit of volume on it. And there's a chance we might come down and test that, get a little bit more of a firm test of that. Basically, right now, we're up at all-time highs. And so maybe we just push on through from here. We'll have to see. Whenever we're up at all-time highs, it's a little bit dicey. We just kind of have to see what the market gives us. And we don't want to fight it by any stretch. But at the same time, we have to recognize that we're at all-time highs, and we might pull back a little bit before, we might need to catch our breath. There's a ton of volume in here that built up. You can see very thin volume so far here. This was all yesterday's price action. We built a ton of volume in here. And so, not unreasonable to think that maybe we come back down and test some of these levels in here. That wouldn't be an unreasonable thing to sort of assume, right? Come back into that stuff. I'm going to remove this. We might get a retest of that, but I'm not going to put money on it. And sort of same thing here, like we're in this zone. I'll leave that one for now. So I'm kind of looking at this 59.50 level, but this is a really broad support zone. Can probably remove this at this point. Whoops. Let's remove that. This got tested. Man, that just really bummed. Really bummed at the way I missed some of these moves. Yeah, so this is kind of what we're dealing with now. We may come down and test some of this, but this is a really broad support level. And you can see the volumes there, like up until even down into this stuff. Sometimes what we can do to get a little bit more precision is just catch that and just see where we're at. But, it's not a pronounced point of control. And when the point of control is not pronounced, sometimes you want to be careful about trying to be too precise with your entry. So right off the top of this, where this volume really does come in, you can see it when you zoom in. There's a big ledge of volume there. And so that's probably what I would be. Man, I always forget to remove my marker tool. We got to get a little bit more detailed, I think, to get an accurate level out there. But you can see, look at the volume that came in there. So a retest of this, yeah. But if you do it, you keep a wide stop. This is more of a swing trade entry. This is a big old stop right here. If we're going to enter on this, I mean, you can try and be a sniper, but we're looking at a 19-point stop there, 20-point stop, basically. That's a big old stop. So that would be something, personally, I would take on micros. Definitely not taking those on the mini contracts. Way too much risk for my account, at least I guess more than my account, way too much risk for my psychology, right? I'm not emotionally prepared to put on that much risk on a short-term trade, so I would not do that. So that's kind of what I'm watching. So much of this move here was pre-market, so it's possible we retrace and do a retest here, because again, this is going to be a gap, right? So if we look at the ETFs and such, there's going to be a gap here, and this 65, 60 level, or the 60 level, I should say, that's basically your gap fill. I mean, we closed up at about 61 or something like that. Let's see, where did we close exactly? Yeah, we closed right here, right about 62. So this is kind of a nice entry. You might take it a little bit early from there if you want to take a swing, but that would be a gap fill entry for bullish continuation. I think this stuff down here, I don't think there's anything in here that needs to get tested, and the volume that was in this is mostly from this consolidation here, and we can see that got tested on this move down. So I don't believe that we need to come all the way down there if we're going to continue up. I'm not saying we can't come all the way down there, but that's already been tested and dealt with, whereas this push, this is a nice, man, we worked real hard to get out of this, just like we worked real hard down here to get out of this, and then we retested it. We worked really hard to get out of this, and I'd be surprised if we fall back down at this point, but anything is possible in the markets. I've been trailing my stop on my, I have a position on SPXL, the triple beta leveraged ETF that we took way back on here. We bought in right at that low on a limit order. We kind of expected that pullback. We expected the reversal there. We had that level drawn out well in advance and entered on some nice leverage positions there. So we've been riding this all the way up. We've got, gosh, I don't know, I think at least 10% on that position, something like that. My thinkorswim is locked right now, but so I've been trailing the stop up. I believe it's like right around underneath this low now. So just kind of expecting this to hold, basically pretty in line with what we're looking at right now, right? We did this retest. We expect this to hold, so let's go for a push on up. And that's kind of it, man. I'm just gonna see. I'm gonna see if we rally up all-time highs, we're just gonna be buying pullbacks, right? Just playing the market as it comes to us, scalping that short time frame, because this is a pretty strong rally, So, and it's earnings season, right? So there's lots of good earnings coming in and all that fun stuff too. So I'll be in the room today, dpmtrades.com. If you want to join us there, you can go to dpmtrades.com, click on community. We have a free section. You don't have to pay. There is a paid section if you want some extra perks, but totally just join the free session, have some fun with us. And especially if you're just looking to learn how to trade futures, how to day trade, how to scalp, how to use volume profile, all those kind of things, it's a nice way to kind of join us and learn. And beyond that, it's Friday, so we're going to keep it close and tight. I was bummed with my trading yesterday. You know, I don't mind a losing day. It's just that I made mistakes. My losing day was due to mistakes. That's what bummed me out. I had one losing trade. It was my third trade of the day. That was a loser, and it was a fine trade. It was just one of those trades that just doesn't work. That one didn't bother me. It was the second trade I took that I should have placed my target better. That one really bummed me out because that trade cost me pretty dearly. I would have been, even just making that trade better, I would have had a profitable day. Instead, I had a losing day yesterday, which is a bit of a bummer. So that's that. I'll catch you guys in the room, or I'll catch you guys tomorrow for our analysis. Hope you trade well, and hope you enjoy your weekends.